Wait, they're by the same author? She wrote that? Why did I not know that's who the author was? Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ryan. It's very nice to meet you. And I'm back here to give you, I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but I'm back with another book video. I think my last video was a book video too. So you're welcome if you want to see that. If not, sorry. This is going to be my February wrap up and my March TBR. And let's just say, if you were to look at my last video of my January wrap up and my February TBR, you would notice that some of the books in my February TBR are still in here for the March TBR. But I did still read, just not what I was supposed to necessarily. So we'll get into it, okay? So we are gonna start with what I did read in the month of February. I read 4 books this month, 3 physical books and 1 audiobook. So I'm gonna go through and tell you the books that I read, my final thoughts, and what I rated them. The first book that I read in February was Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. And I read that on my Kindle. Actually, I read all of my physical books were on my Kindle. So like, not the same kind of physical, but you know what I mean? And then the 1 audiobook. So I read Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. And this is the 3rd book in the Twisted series. I rated this 4 stars. I think I've rated every book from the Twisted series 4 stars. This is my favorite one so far. It was pretty long, but this book was pretty darn good. There were a few, the ending kind of, I don't know, not the ending necessarily, but like what was happening towards the end, just some of the stuff that he was saying kind of like, wasn't my favorite. And I think that kind of is what brought it down to 4 stars. Had it not been for that, it probably would have been a 5-star read. But just some of the things at the end, I was like, oh, I don't really like that. But then it didn't seem to like be a big deal to the other character. And I was like, that bothers me too. So I think that's why I got 4 stars, but it was very, very much enemies to lovers. And I didn't think that I was that into enemies to lovers. Like, of course I hear it and I'm like, ooh, but like, there's other tropes that I like more. But after reading this, I'm in the market for an enemy. Just kidding. But that was good stuff. That was good stuff. The second book I read in February was Bad Blood by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is the 4th book in the Natural series. I ate this up. I read this in 2 days. Like, I sped through this thing, flew through this. It was so good. I rated it 5 stars. I rated every book in the Natural series up to this point 5 stars. But each book got better and better. Like if I could give this 6 stars, I would. I cannot explain to you how good this was. And I'm terrible at saying things without spoiling information, so I'm gonna try to be very careful here. But basically, plot twist of the century in here, I was not expecting what happened. And it makes me want to go back and reread all of the other books to see if I could have picked up on it. But I don't really reread books, so I don't see that happening. But the fact that I want to says a lot because I don't want to reread books. But like, I wish I could go back and see if looking back, if there was anything sketchy that would have made me think forward to what could have possibly happened. I don't even know. Like, it was so good. It was literally so good. And I'm so sad that the series is over. There was a novella after this, which we'll get into. But I just like, I'll just say this now. I wish this is where it had ended. Little foreshadowing. I wish it would have ended here, but it didn't. But this was so good. Like the whole series, the character growth, the character development, the character development in this book, just like getting to the end and like just seeing how much everyone had grown in like become the people that they are. It was beautiful. Like, this was so good. And it just kept twisting and turning. And I just, yeah, it was really, really good. I read it, like I said, so quickly. So this was definitely also a 5. This was a 5-star read for me. This was my only 5-star read this month, actually. So that's saying something for me, because usually I rate everything 5 stars. The next book I read for February was Looking for Leroy by Melody Carlson. I did listen to this book as an audiobook, but I have the physical book, so I thought I would just show you that for the video purposes. I rated this 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I don't know when I got this book, but my parents had it in a box of things that were mine with some other books, and I read it for the Buzzword Readathon prompt. I'm not sure. I can look to see which prompt it was. I mean, I know what the prompt was, but for what month? So this was for the cover prompt for February. It needed to have a skyline, so that's why I picked this story. And I ended up listening to the audiobook, and I really enjoyed it. The reason that I rated it 4 out of 5 stars was just that, like, the ending, for one, I feel like it just happened really quickly, and I didn't really love the ending of it. I just felt like it was too rushed. The ending itself, like, of the book, but also like what happened in the ending, it all just felt very rushed. But I loved the like kind of like the level of delusion that the main character was in, and even her friends, because just like the situation that she found herself in is so crazy. Like, what? It's like very delusional, and as someone who's a little delusional myself, like in a good, fun way, I loved it. But then at the same time, I'm like, okay, this would never, like, how could this have happened? How do you end up in a situation like that? How do you waltz into that? But then, like, you know, so it was just like, that part was like a little bit unrealistic. So it was kind of hard for me to be like, But then it was also just like plain delusional, which I loved. But it was a cute story, and I did really enjoy it. So 4 stars for this one. But yeah, this was my one audiobook of the month, and I really enjoyed it as an audiobook. It was really good. The 4th and final book I read in February was also on my Kindle, and it was 12, which is the novella following the Natural series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I didn't love this. I think we could have done without if this was the only option. Now, I say that with a lot of love. I really do, because I love the series. But this kind of just like, I'm not going to let this reflect on the rest of the series, but I just kind of felt like I'm not going to think much about this. I won't obviously spoil anything, but it is set in the future. And so they're obviously older, and they're all still like involved, but they're currently kind of like working in different parts in their life, because I don't remember how many years set ahead it was, but they were like close to like my age, I think, like 23. So obviously your life is a lot different from a teenager to being like in your early 20s. And so you're not with those same people all the time, even though they were in like a special situation. So part of me selfishly just kind of didn't want to read as much about it, because they weren't all together all the time. And that was something that I think I love so much about the series, is that they were literally together all of the time in this like weird new life that they were living. So the idea of them kind of not being together all the time, just like, I didn't like that, even though it makes sense that they wouldn't be. But selfishly, I just was like, you guys have to be together, all together forever. So not that they weren't involved or anything. It was just that, or that they wouldn't be eventually. It was just like, I didn't want to read about them separately. Like, their group dynamic is so good that I just I wasn't happy that it wasn't like that. That it didn't have the opportunity to be there because they weren't all together. But the moments where they were all talking, you could like feel those glimpses, but I wanted that to be the whole thing, you know? That part was like, But what happened in the story, the big thing that was happening, I really liked that. Like, the case, I guess, that they were working on and how they figured out what was going on was really cool. Just like, not cool because it was like bad, but like, I was just really shocked. I was surprised. And just like that moment of realization was really good. Because the writing, that part's so good. It was just like, I don't know, I feel like the ending could have just stayed where we were. But, so I did rate this 3 stars. I rated it 4 stars originally, and then I went and changed it because I was like, I can't. Like, this was not a 4-star read for me. It really wasn't. So not the best way to end, but it is what it is. And I still love the series with my whole heart. Yeah. And I love novellas. I'm into that. I really am. Like the one for a Good Girl's Guide to Murder that I read after the series. That was so good to me. So good because like reading that and just like knowing everything that had already happened and then picking up on those things that they said that you could already relate to like what was going to happen in the future was so good. Like the way that they threw little details around, and it was just like I know a lot of people read it first, and I'm not saying that would be bad to read it first, but I think reading it after you know everything was much more like rewarding. Like you've just felt like you really like kind of like an outsider looking in and just being like, oh my gosh, if only you knew kind of thing. So I'm into novellas, just not this one. So anyways, but that was the 4th and final book that I read in February. Now we are going to get into my March TBR. It is March. Also, peep the nails for March. I hope you love them. Hope you can see them. Anyways. But I'm going to tell you my books that I would like to read in March. It's a long list. It's a long list. You might be wondering, Ryan, don't you have a book club book that you were supposed to read? Yeah. Yeah, I do. I do. I'm filming this on March 3rd, and the book club is on March 7th. And I haven't finished the book club book yet, and I didn't start it until March. So it's technically still on the March TBR, so I guess we can start there. How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. This is my first book on my March TBR. I've been reading it physically and listening to the audiobook, and I plan to finish the audiobook today. So I should be done with that ASAP. But the nice thing is, this is something that Ellie told me, this book fits one of the prompts for the Buzzword Readathon because it has a book on the cover and, well, books on the cover, and the March cover prompt is books. So this will knock out the cover prompt for March, and I'm very happy about that. And it's book club book, so that needs to be done. To go along with that, whatever our book club book that we pick for March is, I will be reading that, but since book club hasn't happened yet, I don't know what that book will be. Whatever that book is a part of my March TBR, and then you'll see it hopefully in my March wrap up, because hopefully I'll read it actually in March. So stay tuned for that. But yes, this is my first book. I won't give my full thoughts right now because I'll do that in my wrap up. Not a big fan though. Let's just leave it at that. So that's our first TBR, first book for March. We are gonna go through the books that I was supposed to have read in February that I didn't. Tell you those, and then we'll jump into books that I haven't talked about yet. So for the Buzzword Readathon, that's what the rest of these books are basically for that I talked about that I didn't get to. For the Buzzword Readathon for January, Truth and Lies, I still haven't met that prompt, and I have The Lying Game by Ruth Ware. I did get the audiobook for this from Libby, so I do plan to listen to it instead of read it physically, but I haven't gotten there yet, so this one should be knocked out pretty soon, but I would like to get this done. And this will hit the January prompt for the title. Going with the January prompt for the cover patterns, I am reading 99% Mine by Sally Thorne, and the pattern are the little stars on the cover. I don't know if you can see them. I have started this. I ended up downloading the audiobook or downloading the book on my Kindle, so I have been reading it on my Kindle just because I read faster on my Kindle, but I have not finished it. But I think it'll be good. So far, so good. I'm not that far into it, but I have started this, but this will be finished this month. It will. It will, I promise. Still talking about books for the Buzzword Readathon. February was Water Words, and so I selected Beach Read. Still haven't read this. And I think I put a hold on it to have it on my Kindle just in case I don't want to read it physically. I do want to read it physically though, but just in case I want to have that like on hold. But this will be February's prompt, Water, Words, Beach. So this was also, these are still books I was supposed to read in February but didn't. So now it is a March problem. Not problem. Duty, I guess you could say. Now though, we are moving into March, and I told you the book club book that will be started and finished in March, even though it's February's book, needed to have books on the cover, so that will be taken care of for that prompt. And then March's just buzzword prompt is the word thing. So I looked on Goodreads to see what books I had that had the word thing in the title. I had 3. They were All Good Things, something like that. Things That Happened Before the Earthquake. And then The Things We Leave Unfinished. I'm assuming things, plural is fine. So that's what I'm going for. And the book that I've had the longest out of those 3 is The Things We Leave Unfinished by Rebecca Yarros. And so I decided just to choose this one since it was the longest one I had had. So this is my goal for March buzzword challenge. The Things We Leave Unfinished. I've heard a lot about this. It's kind of thick though. It's kind of a thick book. Maybe I should see if there's an audiobook. 427 429 pages. Let's look right now and see if there's an audiobook. The audiobook's available now. I just borrowed it. I just borrowed it. Okay, yay. How exciting is that? The book itself has a 9-week hold, but the audiobook's available. That's kind of crazy. Next on my TBR, you might think that seems like enough books, Ryan. That might seem like enough. That might seem like enough. I'm sure it is. It definitely is, considering I have 2 more books to tell you about. This one is loose. This one's loosely tied to March TBR. It's just that I got it. Wait, they're by the same author? She wrote that? Why did I not know that's who the author was? What? Because when I pulled this off my shelf and I read the name, I was like, dang, that author's name sounds really familiar, but I'm like looking at my shelf because this was there, it's alphabetized. And so I'm looking and I'm like, I don't have any other books down there with that author's name, so I must just be making it up. If it's not just the most popular fantasy book on the market right now, but I had that on a different shelf. That's crazy. Spoiler, it's Fourth Wing. Why did I not put that together until just now? So they both better be good then. What the heck? Rebecca Yarros. Are you kidding? I had no idea. Bestie Ellie read Fourth Wing and literally loved it. Literally loved it. And was like, Bestie, you gotta read this. So when I was at Costco, I saw the paperback version with like the cool edges and I was like, should I? So I did. So I would like to read Fourth Wing this month, but this book is long. It's so long. 541 pages. I don't know. I don't know. We're gonna dive in at some point. There is one book on my TBR that is more important than every single book. Honestly, a book more important than every single book I've ever seen in my whole life, okay? And it is bound to arrive. Its expected arrival date is March 26th. You probably know what I'm talking about. You probably know it's been pre-ordered since January 1st, I think. And so like I said, pre-ordered, I don't have it yet. But you bet your bottom dollar that when that book comes in, I'm dropping every single thing in the world that's happening and I'm reading that book. Yes, you guessed it. It is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. I'm so excited. You guys have no idea. Haymitch's story, Haymitch's games. This is coming out this month. And I am so excited. Talking about eating up a book. It's gonna be this one. So this is my most important TBR book for March. Yep. And I can't wait for Ellie and I to both read it so we can talk about it together. It's gonna be so fun. That is my final book for my March TBR. Big dreams, I know, but to be fair, I did read 2 books in January and then 4 books in February, so we are on the up and up. So that's good. I just am excited for reading this month. I'm excited. I can't believe these are the same author and I didn't know. Whatever. But yeah, I don't feel like I'm in a reading slump. I do feel like I am kind of getting out of that and ready to keep reading. There's just a lot of books that I am excited for coming up to read. So I think that momentum will help carry me with the momentum I already have from reading recently. So yeah, I'm very excited and I cannot wait to film the next video and see how many books I actually did read. So stay tuned for that and help hold me accountable to read the books that I say I'm gonna read. Help, please. But yeah, please comment your March TBR. I wanna know what you're reading. Maybe we're reading some of the same things. I don't know. Let me know if you're excited for Sunrise on the Reaping. I think that's everything for today's video. I'm so excited to read, basically. Like, I need to start editing this video, but I just want to listen to my audiobook, so I don't know. But anyways, if you guys did enjoy this video, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. I would love for you to stick around, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!